Hey, it's Jay, and welcome to my brand new Minecraft world and my brand new YouTube channel. I've been messing with the idea of starting a new Minecraft world where I just force myself to play a little differently than I tend to naturally. And I've also been wanting to start this second YouTube channel where I just want things to be a little looser, maybe even jump into some different games at some point. But I can't help myself but wanting to start things off with just a brand new Minecraft Survival Let's Play. And don't worry, I'm not abandoning my forever world on my original channel, Jalen Crafton. I just recently hit day 4,500 over there, and I'm as excited as I've ever been about the direction of that world, but plan for this world is to just slow things down a little bit. Maybe not quite so much building progress per episode, with the hopes that it'll allow myself to enjoy all the other things of Minecraft that don't necessarily show up on a thumbnail. But don't get me wrong, there will be lots of building. I'm definitely a builder first, and I am going to be approaching that a little differently as well, in that I'm going to be going with a more one project at a time approach rather than getting a whole bunch of projects going on at once. I'm also going to go with a more relaxed editing style, I would say. Less quick cuts, less double time. Try to have it be something you can just have on in the background and not feel like you're missing so much every time you look away. Just something to keep you company while you're playing games or going to sleep. Here we are. And I should mention, I've always been one to search out a seed before starting a new world. This time I just got on Chunk Base and found a seed that had all the materials relatively close to spawn, just because I don't want to spread out too much if I can help it. So other than that, I was seeing all this for the first time here, and I was really liking what I was seeing. I haven't done much building in a dark oak forest, and I think this is a pretty cool area with the little islands almost and this little river system going through. So I was pretty excited about the spawn that I found here, but we've got a lot of adventuring to do before I really start thinking too much about building the base or anything like that. But I do gotta say, this is turning out to be a really cool little dark oak area to boat through. And I should mention my goals for this episode are to get through my little early game grind checklist, which is mainly find a village, try to get all the crops, all the tree saplings, as many flowers as I can find, and just do a whole bunch of hunting as I'm running around, starting with this pig here. And yeah, just getting as many materials built up as I can and get a little starter base built up. I might not go quite as big as I have with my other starter bases if you've watched my other channel, but I've said things like that before. I actually got really lucky right here with just this random nether portal, and there was a Fortune 3 golden pickaxe, which really good find. Day 0. That'll work perfect for crops because crops won't break it as I use it. So now I got Fortune 3 for my crops on the first day, which is a really good find. I was keeping an eye out for sheep, but of course finding a village is my top priority. That's always my main goal on day 1. So got on top of the trees, tried to get a nice view, and definitely a really cool area. I'm really liking our dark oak area down here. I'm excited to settle in over there. But we must adventure first. And as I traveled the treetops, I saw a pillager tower start to render in the distance, and that usually means there's a village relatively close. So I just headed out that way. Got my second sheep, but finding them one at a time was kind of annoying because I'm starting to run out of time at this point. But I found a couple more. I was pretty lucky because I did not find a village on day 1, so we slept through the night, made it through the first day, and woke up and stayed on my hunting trip. Got a pretty good stockpile at this point. Went ahead and cooked a certain amount up just to have it handy. And something I didn't do for a long time is go ahead and use wood to cook your early game food. If you don't have coal and stuff yet, wood works pretty good. Then I kept making my way out there. We got this cool area here with these cherry groves on top of these plateaus here. Kind of a cool little area, but also we got the village over here. It was a pretty small village though. There was only 3 buildings, but it was looking good on the crops. I went ahead and used it as a place to settle in and clear my inventory a bit, and a place fairly near to where I plan on building. I'll be able to come back and get some of this stuff if I want it. I went ahead and put my first pickaxe and all that stuff in there. But we did have one of all the main crops, which which is a pretty lucky find for the first village, and with my Fortune 3 pickaxe, it came out pretty good in the crop department. Other than that, the village was pretty lame, and I just kept on exploring a little bit. Definitely a cool area. I just really like this river system we got going on through everything we got here. Then I saw this little patch of spruce over here and went ahead and got a couple saplings. Not much spruce in the area, so that was a good find. But then I just wanted to stay on my adventure, kind of working my roundabout way back to the spawn area, but I got out here and it was getting dark and I realized I didn't have a bed on me. And I didn't have any sheep. I was in a bad situation. Fighting off mobs, I did get some string from a spider, so that was good for getting some bundles going, but I was in a stressful situation, having to fight off some zombies. I was doing pretty good. I was just running, trying to make my way back to the village, and I ended up running into this little dead end. And apparently there was a zombie right on my tail. I die a lot, for the record. I need to try to be a little better at that, but it's all fun, right? But luckily I was pretty close to the village at that point, and I went ahead and just looked back at my footage and saw the exact coordinates and made my way back and got my stuff back. Made my way back to the village, again, taking any food I can find on these early days. I like getting a nice stockpile of protein early on, especially before I get my farms all set up. And I just spent a little time getting organized over here, and then set back out on my adventure. Again, just kind of taking the roundabout way home. I did want to stop in this cherry grove and get some of the cherry wood, as well as just different flower types along the way. Bundles are so nice for these early days exploration like that. I was stocking up on flowers. I did find this little patch of tulips, which was nice because it didn't see any flower forest nearby, but getting the random tulips is always nice. Always nice to stock up on pumpkins as well. And it's been a fairly good adventure out this direction on these first few days. I am really liking this whole little river system. We got this big birch area right before our dark oak area. And again, I'm just really liking this dark oak area, and I started trying to figure out where I wanted to settle in and build, and I kind of decided on this little area right here. Nice big island with this cool view of the hill behind me. Lots of room to work, and just right in the middle of everything. I think my main base is going to be kind of on top here at the high point, but today we're going to start down here and get a little starter cabin going. So I started getting organized, knowing it wasn't the smartest move in the dark oak forest, not knowing what was around. And I had my headphones off and didn't hear the zombie coming. This was almost bad. I'm also just not thinking of the fact that I don't have armor yet or anything, so zombies are pretty dangerous at this point, but barely survived those guys. But I was stressing out because I was hurting for food. So I was stressing out, not knowing what was behind me. I got food just in time. But then a creeper. Nothing worse than a creeper blowing up your chest. This was really annoying. Also because it spawned me over here a little bit of ways from where I was, and it was becoming nighttime once again. Here I go again. No sheep, no village nearby. I was stressing to make it, and I got very lucky actually. Hearing zombies all around me, I was able to get the majority of my stuff back, and luckily we got the bed in my first group of stuff there, so I could sleep through the night, because you have to remember that was more than a double chest worth of things. So I had to get it all picked up and get organized. Slightly annoying, but we got her done, and I got cooking some food and getting ready to go on another adventure here. And while that cooked, I chopped a couple dark oak trees here. We are going to be wanting to clear this area if I'm wanting to build here. And yeah, we're feeling pretty good. Got a good night's sleep. I did wake up and remembered I better grab a bed and learn from my lessons so far. I haven't been doing very good at keeping a bed with me. So I grabbed that, and yeah, like I said, I just want to have as many of the basic materials with me before I start building my starter base. Speaking of which, I'm realizing I don't have any stone. So I started digging into this wall a little bit, which will eventually turn into my mine, but I just needed a little bit of stone for this trip, and I was ready to go on another adventure. And this time, we're heading north, and this is the one time I know a little bit of where I'm going into, just because, like I said, I did look on Chunk Base, so I know that I'm heading towards the warm biomes. Get some sand, get a desert, and some badlands, and a mangrove up this direction. I haven't seen it yet, so that's always still exciting. But on the way, we did climb this little jungle mountain here, and it had a real cool view of the area here, looking down and all the way around. Went ahead and got some jungle trees as well, chipping away at my stash of wood types and saplings. But then I was gonna head north, and I was already seeing some acacia trees in the distance, so I figured I was heading in the right area. Got some melons in the jungle along the way, and made my way over to the savannah. And it's pretty nice having this area fairly close to my base. We got the badlands here in the desert. Pretty small little badlands actually, but it's kind of cool looking. But we're really not that far from our spawn area, and to think of all the different biomes that are relatively close to my spawn area, I am liking that. While I was out here, I thought I'd get some terracotta, so I have the option to build with a little bit of that. Then I thought I'd go down and check out the village down here, and getting some sand as well. Another reason I came out here. I actually like this little pop-up of badlands in the middle of the desert right by this little village. Kind of cool. And there were tons of sugarcane out here. I just went all over. I got a good start on my sugarcane. Then I went ahead and raided the village a little bit, starting with getting a bunch of the wheat. This village actually had some buildings and some wheat, even though the buildings didn't really have anything of value, but still always nice getting a bunch of wheat blocks. And I did see a kitty cat running around that I was wanting. Like I said, I'm wanting to get some pets and get that established early on, so I went fishing, got some fish, and I like my little furry cat here. And I promise this was an accident. But apparently, I don't think the kitty thought so, because he hung around for a while, then all of a sudden wasn't with me anymore. I don't know what happened. I'm going to need to figure out how to do better with my pets, but we're going to have a grave for poor kitty, we'll call him. I didn't have a chance to name him. We did find another village right on the other side of the Badlands, so that little Badland stretch has a village on both sides. Kind of cool. Again, nothing of value in the buildings. I was really hoping to find a blacksmith with some iron stuff, or maybe a library, but we didn't have that kind of luck. But I did find the mangrove swamp out here. Again, fairly close to my spawn, so I'm really liking the access to all these different biomes right near my base. Easy access to mud and sand and terracotta is going to be really nice. So of course, we got a good amount of mud while we were here. Then I started making my way back, again, kind of taking a roundabout way, trying to see new things, see what we're working with, and definitely a pretty cool little world here. But it felt good to get back in my dark oak forest, and we're almost getting closer to build time. I have been sleeping through every night here. I try to not sleep through nights eventually, but it's just not safe enough to do that right now. But we're looking pretty good on materials. I got a good basic start, but the one thing I was really missing was some stone, so I needed to do a little stone gathering session. So I went ahead and started digging into the hillside here a bit, figuring this will be where my mine is. I usually have a mine where I dig down to level negative 54, so I thought this would make sense for that. So I started working my way down, trying to get some different block types along the way. Finally getting a little bit of coal for some cooking and for some torches, for that matter, as well as some copper. And we found a little patch of clay, so we know we got a lush cave down here, even though I had seen some azalea trees up top. But got some iron, get going on some armor and some tools, and I was just making my way down there. Then I realized I got a dungeon right here. Kind of breaks up my staircase going down to negative 54, which is kind of annoying, but it's well worth it because it's a skeleton spawner. That's a super lucky find early on in the game, and it's right near where I'm going to be setting up my base. So I got lighting things up, but again, I'm kind of forgetting of the fact that I don't have armor on or anything. I'm so used to playing in my forever world, so that was dangerous. Luckily, they got mad at each other and were shooting each other, which saved my life. I ran up here and let them finish each other off a bit. Then I went back down, again just not being the smartest, wanting to light things up. I saw a zombie, figured I could take care of him. But Then this guy came out of nowhere. What am I supposed to do about that guy? This game is so hard nowadays, I feel like. They've really made it harder. Grab a little food to make the trip to get my stuff back, knowing the baby zombie was around here somewhere. Didn't see him at first. I don't know how I survived that. I got really lucky there, I think. But hey, we got our stuff back and we got a skeleton spawner right near our base area, and that's super lucky. I'm really looking forward to having the access for that. I did have to reroute my staircase, but I did go all the way down to -54 just because I like to do that, and I was getting a bunch of tough, and I came across my first diamonds. Wasn't even really planning for that this trip, but that's always a good find. Got 6 of them bad boys. And I made my way up top, and believe it or not, it's almost time to start building. I've got a pretty good little stock of materials here. Feeling pretty good about my general blocks, but I'm planning on building out of a bunch of dark oak, and I don't have much of that yet, and we're going to have to clear this area anyway, so started doing that. We ended up with a pretty good little stash, which is good because we're going to be building a dark oak cabin, and I'm really looking forward to that, but a little bit of prepping beforehand, dig things back a little bit, get myself a nice flat area to work, and then I spent the nighttime actually lighting the area up. I spent a good night and day just lighting the area up, trying to make things a little safer around here. Got a good night's sleep because we got a big day ahead of us. It'll be the day that we start our starter base, and in general, just the kind of theme for the area that I'm going with here. We got this area all smoothed out, ready to build, and I am going to really try to keep the forest theme going on, so I'll replace trees wherever I can once I get the build in, but we got to get the build in. And I did see somebody do this, and I feel really bad. I can't remember who it was. I even tried to go back in my history and couldn't find it. But for a log cabin, alternating with the stairs and the beams here, ends up with just a really cool log cabin look. We extended that all the way around just to get a nice little base going. And I will say, I was planning on a smaller starter base. This isn't humongous by any means, but definitely a little bigger than I had in my head. But you could definitely see the little trick with the stairs there and just how it really gives the log cabin aesthetic here, more than I've ever achieved. But I'm just gonna get out of the way for a second here and let things come together a bit. And I will say, when I took this step back and really starting to see it come together, I was really getting excited for taking this theme and running with it throughout this whole area, I'm thinking at this point. Got a really cool window back here. It's going to be a cool view. I do plan on doing a lot of building out that direction, and just our river system here. Everything is really cool about this base. I'm really getting excited. So I'm just going to jump back in. Then I decided to put this extension off to the side that'll actually end up being my bedroom. And it also just does a lot to break up the rectangle. Anytime you can do that, might as well. I think it looks cool as well. Got this cool little sloped roof here. And I like the shape of my building here. Again, just cooler to have it not be a complete rectangle. And I think the slope of the roof looks really good. And just overall, I think we got such a good basis down for our building here. I'm really looking forward to coming back and doing some details, but I'm realizing I need to do a little resource gathering session before that. I'm really running out of things. Starting with some dark oak wood and a little bit of oak wood. And I was completely out of deep slate at this point as well, so figured I'd go down to the mine and get a little bit of that, because you gotta have some deep slate on you. So I just started opening up this room down here, even though I'm probably going to move my mine since my staircase can't go straight down. But got some tuff while I was down here, getting some granite as well. And then I was just hearing a bunch of mobs. I knew there was a cave nearby, and I knew we had this clay, so I knew I was looking for a lush cave, so kind of started following the sounds here, getting some gravel along the way, but mainly we ended up finding this geode here, and that's really lucky as well, right near my base. Again, this has been probably the luckiest little mine I've ever dug. So that was a nice find, but I wanted to find the lush cave, so I just kept following the sounds here. Eventually I broke out, and there was lots of iron available, I saw right away. But it was scary. Again, I don't have armor on at this point, and I feel like I'm so much tougher than I really am. I should just be running away. But no, I decided to run in there and light things up a bit. But it actually wasn't too bad. I ended up getting a good amount of iron. But I was having no luck with coal. I was looking all over the place. I did some strip mining, and I couldn't find coal to save my life. I'm going to need to really keep an eye out for that. But we got enough to get some iron cooked up. It's going to be nice to be able to get my first set of armor on day 24, which is pretty sad. Probably the longest I've ever gone without doing armor. Kind of says something about the way I play. Then I spent a little time just getting some blocks together, a bunch of spruce shelves and spruce trapdoors. And I did get that set of armor made, and it feels good to feel a little safer. And I'm just really looking forward to getting the first round of details on my cabin here. I think we got such a good start, and I always enjoy just the different stages of improving it slowly but surely. And this is going to be a big one. And I end up going fairly crazy with the shelves, but I just really do think they are such a cool block, and they just add that little bit of extra shape, and I'm really liking my spruce and dark oak combo I got going on here. I ended up putting a door off to the side, and while I was getting some stuff organized, a creeper snuck up on me. But we're just going to move on quickly. Patch everything up and move off to the side and get a little chimney going. And here we go again. I thought I had uncrouched, so I didn't get my running start. But again, we're just going to move on quickly. As much as I die, we can't dwell on it. I made a dock going off to the river down here with the staircase down the side, which I think looks pretty cool. And we just kept chipping away. And I'm just trying to find ways to do things different. So here, for example, rather than just using fences like I tend to a lot of the time, just find a different way to represent it. I've done this kind of thing before, but I was really going to try to focus on doing things a little different. And I am just getting a basic floor and my little loft installed in the interior here, but we're going to focus on the interior next episode, amongst other things. But I did get some chests put in here and slowly but surely starting to move in, so I'm not stuck outside. But I just wanted to get the exterior's basics put in. We had to make the land make a little more sense. It's built on this rock coming out of the water and got some greenery going on. It was looking really cool, and I decided to put a couple trees on both sides of the cabin here from the water view. Had to extend the land a little bit, but adding these trees definitely just looks really cool. Extra tall, dark oak trees with a nice thick trunk. Last little bit of details, texture the deck a little bit. And I got just sketching the path out going towards where my main base is going to be eventually. But for now, I'm really liking focusing on my little starter base down here. I think it's just looking really cool. You can see we haven't done much landscaping or anything yet, and I'm really looking forward to next episode. I'm going to spend the whole episode just really focusing on details and bringing things up to the next level. That's one of the main ways I'm trying to play differently in this world, is focus on one build at a time and just really get it to the next level before I move on. I'm liking the possibilities for the interior here, and it's going to be fun putting together next episode. Got a little dock down here on the water, and yeah, I just think this is looking really cool. I'm really liking the shape of the building with our building off to the side, a lot cooler than just having the basic rectangle. And yeah, I'm real excited for this fresh new world on a fresh new YouTube channel. I'm really looking forward to this different approach to the world. I think that'll become more obvious over time. So yeah, I really appreciate those of you who made it to this point in the video. Definitely would love anybody who liked and subscribed, get this channel off and running. And yeah, thank you all for coming, and have a good day.